So, we did our 30 days, no sugar. It is now February 6th that we're recording this, so we're 7 days, because there's 31 days in January. So we're 7 days back on the sugar, and I tell you, I feel pretty bad already. No, I mean, we already crushed some pizza today, as was the plan.
Beers.
But we
candy.
did the 30 days no sugar, and the we'll clear this up right away. The bare minimum rules for the month was you were not allowed to have any added sugars, no cane sugar because that's the same thing, and no
Cough syrup.
corn syrup, no cough syrup. Well, I mean, I hope that wasn't part of the rules. So no corn syrup. So those are the three things. So artificial sweeteners were allowed. Things like honey was allowed, but no white sugar. What did you think? What did you think?
It was hard. I mean, it was mostly hard just because so many things had some. I feel like if it was a low sugar diet, it wouldn't have been as bad because there was a lot of stuff that had a little bit of sugar or less than 1%. You're like, damn it, it's not what we're doing here. Well, less than 1%. Like a lot of things were always like, well, less than like 2% of that. You're like, well, that's pretty vague. So that was the hardest part, finding something that definitely didn't have any sugar in it.
And that really was that was my absolute intention too. I knew that was going to happen because I try to do this. I try to do this most of the time anyway. I mean, we had pizza today. Like, I mean, I indulge whenever I feel like it. You know what I mean? But for the most part, I try to eat healthy all the time, and I try to avoid just regular processed added sugar. And what the actual goal of this was, it was to look at the ingredients, and you see sugar in everything. It is in everything, and you look at it, especially whenever you're like trying to stick to a diet. That's whenever it really makes you angry. You look at the ingredients, and you're like, "Well, why? Why is that in here?"
Are you sure? I like day one or two, I was at like the gas station looking for like some sort of snack. I'm like, gotta have something in here. So I was like, I remember like just looking. I'm like, oh, that's probably, damn it, putting stuff back. Like the people who thought was working there had to think I was crazy. Like, you see that kid just wandering around screaming obscenities at the back of packages?
It is. It's in everything, and this wasn't part of the challenge, but some of the things that I tried to avoid throughout the month. Also, I usually try to avoid vegetable oil. That's usually one of those things that is like in the ingredients, like you just said. It says may contain 2% of this, and there'll be vegetable oil in there. I try to avoid vegetable oils. I didn't do any dairy this month either. I also didn't drink this month.
I did.
I mean that was
hard to find.
Well, it is hard to find. It is hard to find alcohol that doesn't have sugar added into it. Even White Claws, which we love, has cane sugar in it, and cane sugar wasn't allowed.
There is a White Claw, the 80-calorie ones or whatever. Those aren't bad.
Yeah,
but they aren't as good as the other ones.
But I didn't realize that those didn't have sugar in them. I might have partaken. No, I decided that I didn't want to drink for the month either, just because. So I cut out a lot of extra things.
I also did dairy. I was eating like sharp cheddar cheese sticks.
Oh, you did dairy?
I did do dairy.
Normally, I don't have too much of a problem with dairy. I just feel like I feel better if I don't have a lot of it. But who knows? But really, the main thing that we avoided all month was sugar. And I think on this one, on this challenge, I definitely know that we had the most participants on this one, at least a more enthusiastic group of people, because I know that Lainey did it.
Really?
She did no sugar for 30 days. My mother jumped in on this one. I don't think she did the whole 30 days because like we had like family Christmas dinner on like the 2nd of January or something. She was like, well, I'll start having it. But she said that she did really well. One thing I wanted to ask you. She said that she lost like probably 10 pounds, maybe more. Lainey lost like 15 pounds this month. You said you weighed yourself periodically. I did not weigh myself. I'll talk about that in a minute, but you said you were going to weigh yourself.
I was definitely down. Like I used the scale at work, and I was definitely down. Like it fluctuated between on how much meat I would stuff into my fat face, but I was down by 5 to 8 pounds just from cutting out sugars.
I honestly didn't weigh myself, and maybe I should have, but I almost never care what I weigh. I usually just care about how I feel, you know. But like,
so why? Really
but I never worry about what I weigh anymore. But I would have actually put money on the fact that I gained weight this month. I'll bet you I gained weight over the month for a couple reasons. One, because
stuffing yourself with meat.
Well, you as you and pretty much everyone else knows, fasting
Just me.
is very trendy right now. A lot of people like to fast. You know what I mean? And I like to do that. I skip breakfast.
You were super slow.
I don't. I've always been slow. I've always been slow. But I basically I just don't have anything till usually about the afternoon. But over the last few months, like I felt like I was eating less, and I actually felt like I was actually eating not enough. Like I felt like I was eating not enough food. So I knew that I was not going to be having sugar. Usually the way that I do my diet is I eat pretty clean for about 5 or 6 days, and then I unload on a cheat day, and I eat whatever I want. But I knew that I was not going to be doing that this month, and I also knew that I was going to compensate with a lot of fruit.
Oh,
Because I like fruit, and even before we did this, I eat a lot of fruit, and fruit is a sugar, and like. Whenever I kind of explain this challenge to some people, if I said that no sugar was allowed, sometimes they would think that meant fruits too.
Added sugar.
No, added sugar was the stipulation. But I mean, all fruits and vegetables, they were fair game. Those are always fair game. You can always have fruits and
They're
vegetables.
never not good.
But I had a lot of fruit this month. I definitely filled my sugar void with natural
I had
fruit
cuties.
sugar. Cuties.
Like sexy girl. I mean, they were cuties.
Could
the
you-
mamas were sugar's.
Could you imagine if you were lost in the wilderness and starving and you hadn't had anything to eat and you came across a tree that grew cuties? It might actually, the taste of one of those after so long without food might actually kill you.
I
Those
always
things
think
are so
like one day some guy who never had a cherry found a cherry tree and probably killed himself. Like
Oh
oh my god, they're so good. You'd be so sick if you just.
But this challenge, one thing that I noticed, and I know that you saw this with people too. Out of all the challenges that we've done so far, usually we do some sort of fitness challenge. Last month we did chest, that was really fun. But with this one definitely revealed a lot of character in the people that we know, whether they were for or against what we were doing for 30 days, whether they thought no sugar was a good idea or they thought it was a dumb idea. Like,
It was
you definitely got a lot of like, no sugar for 30 days. I couldn't do that.
Yeah,
I couldn't do
no one chimed in on the push-ups.
Right, exactly. Like
No,
push
push-ups every day. What are you crazy?
Yeah, push-ups every day, not a big deal. But no sugar, people get like almost scared whenever you think of something like that. Well, I couldn't do that. I just couldn't do that.
Sugar and everything.
Yes,
They're
you
not-
could though, but it's only for 30 days. You could do anything for 30 days.
Not hold your breath.
You know, but you could though. Like you
could hold your breath
Well,
for
I
30
mean,
days.
I could.
Ryan can go 3 days without water.
But this one definitely got the most discussion, I felt, out of all the people that we know. Whether they thought it was a good idea or a bad idea, it definitely provoked the most.
A lot of discussions in political circles.
Oh, yeah, I mean, you
It
know,
was a big
in our
deal.
weekly book club, it definitely came up.
The one thing that I did notice, and maybe it was just, it was a combination of things. Maybe it was just naturally it did feel like it was getting better. But like my foot problem, where I had I have a nerve issue in my foot, where my foot just gets super strong. No, it's like carpal tunnel in your foot because I played too many video games with my feet. And like it was a nuisance. And it was getting a little better, but I feel like I was super down on the amount of ibuprofen I felt like I needed to take. I just felt better. And even now that I'm back on the sugars, and it doesn't help, I've been hitting them kind of hard. It doesn't bother me, but I can like almost feel it tingling a little bit on my foot. I'm like, what is that? Like I'm more just aware of it again.
And that's honestly, like I said, I try for the most part to just limit the amount of sugar I have anyway. And that what you were just talking about, it's supposed to, it's supposed to reduce inflammation. It's supposed to reduce inflammation. So if you have like a problem, like I have like a nagging back issue that you hear me cry about all the time, and I know that was one of the reasons why I started really cleaning up the amount of sugar that I had, was because I had to do something. Like I had to make a change to reduce that inflammation, and I really do think that helps. Also, we talked about people losing weight if you cut out sugar. Like if you cut out sugar, especially if you have a lot of sugar normally, it usually does only take one of those simple changes, like cutting out sugar. You hear stories about people just cutting out pop and they lose like 10 pounds.
Yeah.
You know, like if
Turns out you drank a shitload of pop.
yeah, you make a small change and you lose weight. So like all these people that were telling me they were losing weight, didn't surprise me in the least
Right.
because that's usually the case. And if you do have an injury, like if you're walking around on your foot all day, or if you are supporting your upper body with a spine, like most
Most
people
of
do, like if you lose 10 pounds, you've taken 10 pounds off of that injury. Try walking around with holding a 10-pound dumbbell.
That's-
Just thinking about like, wow, I used to walk around with this.
Well, if
Now
you're-
I don't.
And if you're 200 pounds, that's 5%.
Yes. So
If you're
I mean,
100, if you're that's a lot.
so yeah, the whole thing this month wasn't to torture ourselves. It was, I mean, it was kind of, but like it was to build a little bit of awareness about how nasty sugar can be. It really can be. I love it.
How much I miss pizza.
I love sugar. I craved pizza the
It
most
was definitely
throughout the month.
That was the biggest takeaway.
Pizza, I try to explain this to people and I almost can't. Pizza is one of my favorite things. It's not just my favorite food, but like
Fantastic.
it's like car cell phone pizza.
Like you're a car guy.
Well, I mean, I gotta get
Nothing like the feel of a Hemi under my legs.
You wouldn't understand that Ford Ranger sitting out front.
Hey!
He calls to me. But yeah, I'm glad that we did the no sugar. I'm glad that I was able to sucker you into the no sugar because I knew it was gonna come about where you were like, wait a minute, there's sugar in everything.
I didn't prep very well for it, and like I have a ton of snacks. You want them upstairs, you can have them because they're terrible. Like sugar-free snacks are terrible. Like these taste just off.
These taste like it's almost sugar, but it's
Ranch
gross.
powder, I found out didn't have sugar in it. That was a nice touch.
Um,
I did find out some nice. There's a whole line of some nice gentlemen down south who make sugar-free sauces.
The
for,
sugar-free barbecue. Those are good.
or like there's like an Asian zing.
those are good. There's definitely a lot more sugar-free stuff that you can find, or you can, even if they put on the label no added sugar. Usually they're not usually, every time they're using some sort of artificial sweetener.
Yeah, but
Stevia they say is supposed to be good, but I honestly have no idea. Sucralose is used a lot. I don't know really anything about that. It's probably the same as real sugar. Your body probably treats it the same. I have no idea, but it at least maybe like a peace of mind. And you should still limit how much you have. But like there is all kind of sugar-free stuff now, and one in particular that I complain about all the time. You can finally find bacon that actually says in big letters on the package, no sugar. There's always been sugar in bacon. It's so annoying.
lunch meat has sugar in it.
Lunch meat has a lot of nasty stuff in it.
I
It's
know.
one of those things that's contained 2% nasty stuff.
But you can get sugar-free lunch meat. It doesn't taste very good. It's really slimy and it's extra expensive.
So we gonna load up some sugar-free meat, or
Load it up. I can send you home with a nice sugar-free trash care package.
but sugar's definitely back on the menu.
Woo!
It's February right now, so we can't do a 30-day challenge in February, so that's fantastic. Next 30 days is your choice. Who knows when we'll get around to that.
Hold your breath.
Hold your breath for 30 days. You start. But I think that was it. I enjoyed the sugar-free month. It was fun. I thought that it was fun that we did have more participation. I know. I'll give a shout out to my buddy Shane O'Brien. He also went no sugar for the whole 30 days. He said he started New Year's evening, like before the ball even dropped. Sounded like a really wild New Year's Eve party he had. But again, Lainey joined us on the no sugar. My mother joined us. But I had friends that didn't, and I couldn't believe it. Matt Chamberlain is the first challenge that he's opted out of. You've
been called out.
He was in lunges. Well, he probably didn't do chest either. But
You've been called out twice.
but he didn't do the no sugar. I thought he might do that one. But so
I've
again,
never had anyone do a challenge with us. It's all your people. All your massive followers. Your disciples.
And I thank you to all of them. So it's your pick next, and who knows what that's going to be. Hopefully you can find something that I'll find equally as annoying as you found as sugar. But
Oh my god, I guess it's going to be brushing your teeth. It's the only thing I can think of.
no, I mean we can't do that. All right, I think that's it. All right, thank you everyone.